where the rhythms meet the mind's warm embrace. Stories unfold, tap into your grace. Artists lay their hearts for us to see. In the Culture Corner where we're all free. Culture Corner, tell your tale today. Voices rising like the dawn's first ray. Culture Corner, pave the path that's bright, bringing dreams alive by the mic's light. Entrepreneurs with visions bold and clear, they chase their dreams without a trace of fear. Sharing wisdom to uplift and inspire. At the Culture Corner, we spark that fire. Culture Corner, tell your tale today. Voices rising like the dawn's first ray. Culture Corner, pave the path that's bright, bringing dreams alive by the mic's light. Listeners tune in from far and wide, drawn to stories where hope can't hide. Bound by the beats and the shared desire, in the Culture Corner, souls ignite with fire. Culture Corner, tell your tale today. Voices rising like the dawn's first ray. Culture Corner, pave the path that's bright, bringing dreams alive by the mic's light.
Episode, you guys, I done lost count, because what I will say is that this has been a crazy journey, right? If you've been rocking with me since the beginning, it was just me. Then we've had a few special guests, and y'all, I'm just amazed that y'all are still here rocking with me. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in right now. We got Miss Cicely. Hey, Cicely, how you doing? We got Kelvin checking in. Y'all, if you are in the comments, do me a favor, please like, share, comment. Matter of fact, blow this live up right now. Share it with your mama, your daddy, your nana. Share it with everybody, because we have a special guest here today. All my guests are special, but this one is extra special to me, because not only is this one of my best friends, not only is this my sister, but she's also a bomb business owner, an entrepreneur, a fashionista, and baby, when I tell you she is everything, like, she's just everything. I want you guys to give a big round of applause. Well, I'm gonna do it because y'all in the comments right there. But I want y'all to give a big round of applause to my sis, Miss Jaz Jackson. Woo! What up, baby?
Hey, girl.
How you doing?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey, Miss J Red.
Coffee B.
Oh! Y'all, J Red and Coffee B is back together, y'all. Like, this is a crazy moment. This is like nostalgic right here.
Oh my God.
J Red, man.
The evolution.
The evolution.
Wow. It's been a very long time.
It's been a long time. A bunch of different roller coasters and things in between of life. And I'm just so excited to have you here.
I am. First of all, before we get started, I just have to say, I'm so proud of you.
Oh.
The studio looks amazing. I'm just in awe of the work that you're doing. I love that you keep it community based. I love learning about what's happening within the community, and I hope that I can contribute to the growth of your
I
brand.
appreciate you so much. Thank you. And shout out to True Conglomerate. Without True Conglomerate, we would not be here. They have all your studio needs from lighting, sound, podcast. You got an event coming up and you need them to come to you. You guys, True Conglomerate is your one-stop shop for everything entertainment. So, with that being said, we're going to get right into it.
First of all, I'm really like, you know where all the bodies are. So I'm sitting here and I'm like,
that's on page 6. No,
I don't know what to expect from this interview. I'm like, Lord, please let the cameras somehow die if she says something crazy. But yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, cause this is my sister. So I was just like, you want me to send you the questions first? I'm gonna send you the questions, and I totally forgot. And she was like, no, you ain't gotta send me the questions. I'm like, you sure? Cause I can do it real quick. But she said no. So
I want to be surprised. I want to be a part of the conversation and not.
Six is around the juicy. No, you guys, I'm just playing. Ain't no juice because this is really.
I'm so boring. I am so boring. I'm so boring.
She lying, y'all. Don't let her lie to you. She is not boring. You actually have an amazing life that I want. That okay, because I have juice and I know you and things like that. Your life.
I'm scared. Okay, continue.
Okay, I'm gonna ease in slow.
Okay,
I like we gonna ease it on in slow. All right. So for those who don't know, who might be brand new to you, I don't know if I want to start with who is Jasmine Dixon or who is who is Jaz Jackson? Who are you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say I'm many things, First of all, I'm a woman. I'm a mother. First and foremost, I'm a mother. I think that it's hard to give an answer because I'm ever evolving, And even right now, I feel like I'm in a new iteration of myself. I'm being like introduced to a new version of myself. I feel like I've shed some skin. I'm no longer who I was a year ago, certainly not 5 years ago. So I'm just in a place of rediscovery. But I'm a mother. I'm a business owner. I'm a friend, sister, all the things. Yeah.
So I don't want to dive in too soon. Okay, guys, we got 10 people watching the live right now, right? If y'all want to get into like some meat and gristle, I need y'all to like and share. I know it's early, so we're gonna ease it in slow. Yeah. But y'all like, share this live, tell your mama, tell your cousin to get here, okay? Because I want to go down a roller coaster of J Red and Coffee Brown for a little bit. Like, a time was had back then, but we're gonna hold off. Okay. We're gonna wait a few minutes. Because I also do want to dive into like mental health, because you take your mental health very seriously, right? I've seen you talk to your therapist, like when you do your lives and things like that. So how are you feeling today? Like, in total transparency, like, what was your thought process for today?
A part of my work right now is to just be present. Today I feel great. I woke up and I was excited about the interview and just, knowing the history of our friendship. I was excited to have this moment with you. To just, it's just a part of our chapters that we have together. Life has been very interesting these past few years. Same for you. And so I'm just kind of going with the ebbs and flows of life. I'm more accepting of the changes, the sharp changes that life can bring. I think that there was a time in my life where I would get really rattled when something shifted, when it was like such a chaotic shift. But I've learned to accept that that's a part of life and to just be grounded within myself no matter what's happening outside of me.
So you've always been like that it girl. You know what I'm saying? You always.
No, I have not.
Okay.
No, anyway, I have not.
Okay. No,
I have not.
But okay, so you've always been just you've always just been you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I admire and I love about you, because like no matter other people around you see you as that chick, but you've always been so grounded, so down to earth, just so nice and genuine. And so I want to dive into your earlier years. When Okay, so we gotta lead it up. So
This is gonna be hard for you because you know so much about me,
Right,
and so
right,
it's like
right.
you don't know where to start.
So I do want to start with J Red and Coffee Brown.
Okay.
Only reason I want to start there is because like that was like something that kind of catapulted everything else,
Yes.
right? So we started off doing shows.
No, we have to take it a step back.
Oh, we gotta
Okay,
go
I'm
back.
gonna take a step back.
Tell me.
So Coffee and I actually met in high school. We've been
I was trying
friends
to omit
for a
that
very long time. We've been friends for a very long time, and we started. We initially crossed paths in a math class. I will not say what that math class is. We were in a class with numbers. Okay,
Don't worry about it.
But that's where we
didn't give
first. That's where we first met, and then we went our separate ways. You went off to don't tell me you went off to Atlanta first, and then when you came back, I was working at the beauty supply store in Zion. At that time, I had just had my son. He was pretty much a newborn, and I want to say you came into the beauty supply store, and I was just like, we just reconnected, and we have been inseparable since.
Ever since.
I was very captivated by the fact that you had the courage to leave the small town that we were from and go off and explore and try something big, something that we shared in common, media, and wanting to both go off and be the next 106 in Park video jocks, back when that was a thing. But that's where we started. And so when you came back, we were trying to figure out what were we going to do. And I remember, if my memory serves me right, I think we were walking down the street on Sheridan or going to Sheridan Road. And I was like, we need names. We need names. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be J Red because my name started with a J and I'm red. And you going to be Coffee B.
That was me.
You're going to be Coffee B. And I'm so amazed that the name has stuck.
It's stuck.
And I want my cut. I want my percentage because
I spell it differently now.
You do not.
Okay, all right.
You still spell it with a K. And I want my cut.
Okay, I got you. When this blow up, you got everything, baby. You ain't even got to worry about nothing. I'm gonna give you all your roses and flowers. Okay. First trip on me.
Thank you.
Second trip on me, because first trip gotta.
But we were young and we were just like excited about doing things, like just getting our hands in whatever form of media that we could get our hands into and stuff.
We were in so many spaces.
So many spaces.
Like we were all around Chicago.
Yes.
All at all kind of clubs.
Mm-hmm.
What were we doing there? We were all out south.
We was outside.
Mr. Ricky. Wasn't there one time we went to Mr. Ricky's?
I don't remember in names, but I just remember us always being somewhere. We were always in your car, driving somewhere, being in somebody's face.
Late nights and early mornings. And when we were going to the media school.
Yes.
We were going to the media school. Those are those are extreme late nights.
Very much so. It was like it was just like a really transformative time. Yeah. And I think that was also where we really cultivated our friendship, and it became more than just, two girls wanting to have similarities in what we want to do in life, But before media school, we were a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
And we were doing our own shows.
Yeah. We had the Candy Coated production.
Yes.
It was a Candy Coated.
I can't believe,
why did we do that? What was that name?
It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the pictures,
I need some of those.
I still have the
I don't
pictures.
have any kind of memory. The latest memory I have that was the peanut butter jelly. Who was gyrating on the wall? I can't remember. Somebody was gyrating on the wall, but we met some.
Was it
really,
T'Challa?
I think it was T'Challa.
I swear, I think
I
it was
think it was
T'Challa.
T'Challa.
Because somebody pulled out a peanut butter and jelly and fed it to you.
Yes, it was T'Challa.
That would
he
not
pulled
fly
out.
over in today's world. That would not fly. They would be like, "Oh my God, they're making a mockery out of her."
I'm gonna check in with the comments real quick. We have Cicely saying good evening, love bug, and now we have Dia is checking in. My mama here. Hey mama.
Hey, mama.
She checking in. Ashia said, hey y'all, hey. Who else? Who else? Andrew, Big Drew said my sisters.
What's up?
Big Drew said my sisters.
All
Yo.
these names are coming back to me. You know, my brain is in a whirlwind. I'm always like, who? I know that person. I can't think of the name.
You guys, if you are tuned in, please once again like, share, comment on this live, y'all. If y'all have any questions for Miss Jaz Jackson, let me know. But yes, back to Candy Coated Productions. That was a time. Like we literally had some really good shows. We had comedians pop up, different artists pop in.
Yeah.
We were like in the studio with like, we in the studio one time with like Rhyme Fest or something. Like we used to be all over.
We was just outside.
Just
I just
everywhere.
remember like that level of energy that I had at that time does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
I would never be outside as much as I was, but I think we were just excited to be doing what we were doing, and it was just fun. It was just fun.
So let's take your journey after Candy Coated Productions.
Mm-hmm.
We went to media school, and then like you got into news reporting.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So that was always my dream, was to have a career in journalism, and well, I guess I could say it was a vehicle. I wanted to be like the next Roxy or the next Free, because that's what was big back then, 106 and Park. And we went to school, and I landed an internship at Fox News, downtown Chicago. And that was the beginning of my life. I was 18, 19, oh my God. And I was still living here. And so what I would do is I would get up at like, because I worked the morning show, very, very early morning show, like maybe 5, 6 a.m. in the morning is when it started. And so I had to get up around like 3 in the morning, and I would take a train downtown, a couple buses, and I would do my internship. But that was the start of I would say that was the start of my career. I was 19, and once my internship ended, well, I guess I would say in the midst of my internship, I fell in love. Okay. I met a boy who lived in Chicago, and he worked upstairs at the radio station, and that relocated me. So I left from here and relocated to Chicago, and little did I know that would be my stomping ground for almost 20 years now. Crazy. I've been back. And you know what's so funny? Because depending on who you're talking to, they'll say, oh, she's from Zion, or she's from, or depending on which family member you're speaking to within my family, they're like, oh, well, no, she's from the west side of Chicago. A little bit of both, a little bit of both. But I say that I'm from the south side of Chicago because I've been there since I was 19, and I'll be 38 this year. Yeah. That's my home. The south side of Chicago has always been my home. I love it. So, if you ask me, I'm from the south side of Chicago, and it's Harold's all day.
I need to go to Harold.
You never been to Harold?
No, I've been to Harold, just not to the one on the south side.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw what you did, what somebody did to you, which was a farce. I hate that they took you there. That was not the Harold's to go to.
Okay, in my defense, right? It's 2 downtown. I don't like.
I could tell by the fries that you was at the wrong Harold.
No, though. Okay, so it's one on. I don't know where it's at, but it's one that's not good, and the other one downtown is good. But I did hear that I have to go to the south side. So my next trip will be on the south to go to the one on the south side. Yeah, definitely gotta go. Once again with the comments, oh, we got some stars in the building. Billy, I don't know if you remember Billy from high school.
I don't.
He said, "Hey y'all," my mom said, "Hey love, so proud of you
Hello.
too." Yes, and so. When you moved to Chicago, you kind of like broke out on YouTube. Like you started to do your thing. So tell us about your journey on YouTube.
Oh my God. So I have to go into my mental Rolodex because what was I doing? So, okay. So we fast forward. So I was just like, I was over trying to pursue media at that point. It was very hard. And my son was growing, and I was like, I was at a crossroads of like, I have to take care of my son, or do I pursue this dream of mine? And obviously, I was like, I gotta make some money to take care of my son, and so I took a back road. So I started doing like little gigs here and there, working at a bank and all this other stuff, but in the midst of that. I want to fast forward so now I'm like 25 at this point, and I'm into makeup, I'm into hair at this point, and YouTube is like becoming this.
Oh yes, I missed the makeup and hair.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because you was the hair guru.
I took a detour and actually went to school for cosmetology, and I was like, I'm gonna be a hairstylist and a makeup artist, and that's what I'm gonna do. And so I did that, gained my cosmetology license, but in getting my cosmetology license, I actually ended up working for MAC Cosmetics. And because my love for makeup at the time was greater than hair. And so I was doing makeup at the local counter, in Macy's. And I was like, you know what? I was seeing all these girls on YouTube, and I was like, if they could do that, I could do that. And my plan was, if you go back and look at like my very early videos, I have a super reporter voice, and it was completely misplaced. But my plan was to be like, if someone would hear my voice, then they'll pick me up, And so I'm talking about hair and makeup in the reporter voice. My God. But so I started to do that, and it was, I was doing some numbers here and there. But then I did this one video about hair extensions, which at the time AliExpress was very big on YouTube. It was, it's like this marketplace that you can go to get wholesale items. And then that video went viral, of what viral was back in 2011, 2012. And that is how I was introduced as Jaz Jackson. And the rest is history.
You were like an influencer before influencer was like
We certainly were influencers before yes. I remember getting paper checks from Google. That's how long ago that was.
God.
And actually, when I started on YouTube, I didn't know that you can get paid. It was like I was on some forum talking. I was in some group on Facebook, actually. And the lady was like, wait a minute. Because I had a couple of videos that went viral at that point, but I hadn't gotten paid. And she was like, you aren't getting paid? You're not monetizing your YouTube channel? And I wasn't. So she helped me with that. And the rest was history. Yeah.
Ooh. So YouTube was like one of those things that you just did.
I just fell into it.
Okay.
It was just like, I was bored, at this time. I'm like, I've been with my boyfriend for I don't know how many years, and he gets on my nerves.
But you had a different journey on YouTube. So you started off with doing the music, the hair and makeup, but then it kind of transitioned into something else.
Girl, what?
You were doing interviews.
Oh, I think I kind of did some beta testing because I wanted to get back into media. So I did a couple of interviews. Let's see. I did an interview with Sean Paul, and I think most notably would probably be T.I.
Okay.
I did an interview with
How
him.
was that? Because you love T.I.
It bombed. I did a horrible horrible job. And I remember because I was asking very close-ended questions like, how was your day? You know, like, and this was a time that he had just gotten out of jail. And so he really did not want to answer questions about his jail time or anything surrounding you know, what took place at that time. And I remember saying the one question that really got on his nerves, because he was annoyed with me. He was annoyed, and you can visibly see it in his face. He was like, I said, have you learned anything?
Oh, wait, what? Damn. You asked me, did he learn anything?
If you could say anything, what did you learn? And there's a screenshot of us doing like this, like, because he was like,
you had the first meme.
I was so mortified. I was like, my boyfriend was like, you bombed. You need more practice. It was really, really bad. It was really bad.
Who just got out of jail? Did he learn anything?
Look at what pretty privilege does, you know. I needed more work. I needed more work. I did.
I'm turning beet red for you. I didn't even know you did
and my pants were red. I was redder than my pants.
Oh my god!
I was redder than my pants. I was so utterly embarrassed that I did that. Sorry, T.I. If you ever see this, you know, can we get a do-over? That would be nice.
T.I., please give my sister another chance.
One more
because
chance.
she didn't mean it. I promise
give
you.
Me one more chance.
Shout out to the Crazy Riot Show, aka Boylo's Crazy. He said, Jaz Jackson, what up?
What up?
What up? You guys, once again, if you hear, like, share, comment on this live. I love y'all real bad. Okay, so after
you getting comfortable now.
I mean, you know, I usually tell people, like, you know, I usually wear some fuzzy socks and I just kick my feet up and lay back, because this is like the cozy culture corner where we're just chilling, you know what I'm saying? That's the vibe that I really want to go for.
It's working.
I want it to just be comfortable just have a conversation, you know?
Yeah, I could really fall asleep on this couch.
Please don't. Not right now. Just wait till after. We ain't got that long. Because I'm sleepy too. I'm so tired.
Well, I was telling Shauna, I've been up since 3 this morning. Man. And I have not slept. And I'm just like, Lord, please, Jesus, be a couch.
Be a couch around me. Okay, so after what made you come out of YouTube? That's what I really want to know. Like, what? Because you were like, YouTube was like your thing. Then all of a sudden it kind of like just stopped.
I was very fatigued with the type of content that I was making. And there's a word to it now, you know. It's called being fatigued, right? But there was no word to it then or phrase to it, you know.
Like the whole burnout.
Burnout. I was burnt out from doing the same type of content over and over, and I kind of found myself in a bit of a pickle because YouTube was my full-time job at this point, and so there's this fine line that you walk as an influencer when you put too many eggs in a basket. You know, you really do need to learn how to supplement your income so that you can have fun with your YouTube channel or your podcast or things like that. But the culture of YouTube at that point, you got to think 2012, back to 2012, it was all about fun and just being expressive and showing your talents, and there was no monetary value behind it. And then by the time 2016 hit, it was full-on productions like what you have here, and it was like production houses, and people were getting hired as talent, and it was like, now we're talking about 6 figures, and the perception of appearing larger than life kind of superseded what the original purpose was. It was like many of us lost the plot, or at least for me, I lost the plot. And so again, I found myself in a pickle where I needed to pay my bills. You know, my son at this point, you know, he's in grade school. He's a growing boy. And I was just tired. And not only that, so 2015, 16, my relationship ended, and that was a big blow because I was with him for almost a decade. And obviously there's a transitional period that takes place with that. And, honestly, I fell into a depression. That
Ooh.
mixed that with, still having the responsibilities of being a mom and everything. And I just wasn't feeling it anymore. I was just like, I'm over this. Like, I want to do something else, but it's kind of like you're at your dead end job.
Yeah.
I hate to say like YouTube is a dead end job, but it's like, you kind of lose the luster. You want to grow.
Because it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
People
it's just
expect you to do the
mundane.
same thing.
It's like over the same thing over and over again. I just got tired.
So what brought you? So you said you went through a depression.
Hmm.
Did that birth Jsculpt, or was it something before that?
It did. So, you know, I was clinically diagnosed with depression back in 2012.
Okay.
And I was young. I'm 24, 25, My boyfriend's yelling at me, telling me, he's like, I don't know who I'm waking up to every day. And I was like, I don't know either. But
I don't know who I am today.
I don't know who I mean, it's 2020, it's 2025. I still don't know. How about that?
Tell me about it.
But he suggested to me, he was like, I really think, that there's something wrong with you.
So he
Please go
diagnosed you
talk to the
first.
lady. Please go talk to the lady. And
He's so nice.
And I thought that he was being like, a jerk.
Mhm.
And I was like, and that lady was like, see,
You go on the spectrum just.
I'm making light of it, but I was diagnosed with clinical depression and PTSD and something else, girl. And
She roll out the list of things.
this is like, but the doom scroll,
Right,
like, right. And so, but again, at that time, I'm 20, 24, 25. I don't really, I did not want to be labeled as crazy, Again, fast forward 10 years later, it's like there's so much support surrounding mental health. It wasn't quite there yet. And so I was like, okay, I got to figure something out. I did not want to go back on medication. And so I remembered that my doctor suggested that I could go a holistic route.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I did not believe that you could go a holistic route to combat depression. I was just like, no, that's not going to help. But I was like, you know what? It's worth a shot. So I started to regularly work out. I cleaned my diet, was eating only like, whole live foods, meditating and journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It like opened up a whole nother version of myself that I'd never known. I never knew that I was capable of the things that I was doing. And the beauty of like living a healthy life or like going to the gym is that it really teaches you just how strong you are, and it builds like a mental strength that you otherwise wouldn't have. And so while I was doing that, because I fell in love with the gym and just the art, well, not art, but just, the flow of working out, I was like, you know what, I want to do something with this. And sidebar, I was working with this company, and at the time, it's like on the tail end of my YouTube channel, I was doing like these shapewear reviews. And these shapewear reviews were going super viral. Like 300, 400, 5 million views, like super duper viral. And so I was like, okay, well, I know that I can make some money. Cause like Jsculpt was never meant Jsculpt was never meant to be what it is today.
Really?
No, it was just meant for me to make enough money. And I always joke, laugh with my mother, because I always said, if I could just make $5,000 a month, just enough to take care of my son and I'll be fine. And little did I know, that would unlock a chapter in my life that, even right now, like, what was this? The 27th, we celebrated 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
y'all give it up for 8 years.
I know.
For real. That is
it's
amazing.
a very long time.
So with Jsculpt, you really change lives.
That's what they say. That's what,
you
yeah.
did, because it went stupid dumb. Like, you could
Yeah.
not look anywhere without seeing a Jsculpt belt.
Yeah.
And like on all social media platforms,
Yeah.
in real life, like I remember like going to certain places and I'm just like, and I would get so excited, like,
Yeah.
like I would get so excited, and you like, oh girl, I'm just like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't care what no one said. I was like one of your biggest cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and I want to say how proud I am of you for Jsculpt, because once again, like, you really did change people. Like, you gave people the encouragement and the, what am I trying to say? You just gave people hope when it came to fitness. Like, everybody knew that they didn't have to look like you or look like one of the models or look
Yeah.
like whatever. You really opened up your sizes to all sizes.
Yeah.
And you really did ask, and you dove into different communities from all super petite to plus size.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to say that I appreciate you for that, because it's always hard to find good shapewear, good feel good shapewear, and you didn't just have shape. So besides shape, because we don't call them waist trainers, they are
Right.
fitness belts.
Yes.
Yeah, do not call it.
Don't you say it.
Don't you call it a waist trainer? It is the Jsculpt Fitness.
It looked like a weight
belt.
trainer.
Whatever you look, it's a fitness belt. So what other products did you have?
Yeah, so the Jsculpt belt was and continues to be our hero SKU. That's still our number one seller today. But we expanded next into apparel, and we found that apparel was a successful route for us. And that was where I was actually able to really become very creative, and I was able to kind of explore my creative side more with apparel. Then naturally, as the market shifted, more women wanted to have shapewear. So we spoke to actual shapewear that you wear under your clothes, and we did that. And then accessories, things that you take to the gym, duffel bags, water bottles, and things of that sort.
I know COVID hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so did that kind of hurt? Because I know it hurt a lot of different businesses. How do you feel like COVID affected your business?
It did not hurt. I will say that. What's the opposite of hurt? It was more like euphoria. It was like yes, it was, everybody was kind of bracing themselves for COVID. And it's funny because at the time, I was getting ready to close on a home out far out in the suburbs. I was like within a week of closing on this home. And then we got word that COVID was coming, and I was very afraid that, that the numbers would just tank. And so I actually canceled the closing and like lost my earnest money, which was about like $5,000. And, but it was insane. So what ended up happening was, because everyone was home, people wanted to still have a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
So they were working out at home, and they were looking for at-home products to work out with. And Jsculpt fell under that umbrella. That was also when like Peloton had their big surge as well. If you were in the fitness industry, if you were in the home goods industry, you did very well during that time. It was a huge bubble. And so I was very fortunate to be a part of a subcategory that was successfse during COVID.
And then you also did create like at-home workout routines.
Yes, and so that was the introduction of at-home workouts, and just bringing another umbrella, or bringing another branch to Jsculpt. The first time that we did it, it was kind of like a beta test. Didn't work exactly as we wanted it to, but we brought it back to the forefront, and that's what many people know today as Sculpt 42.
So what was your first hard lesson that you learned with Jsculpt?
Looking back on it, I feel as though, although I'm very thankful, I scaled too fast. The culture around scaling, it was like when you're on on Instagram and online, there's this perception that you want to be a big juggernaut, and what they would call an industry disruptor. That was a big thing to be. Like, you wanted to be the next person to come out, the next brand to come out, to just knock it out the park. And I wanted that. I asked God for that, and I feel like he gave it to me. But what I learned was, be mindful of what you ask for, because you have to take everything that comes with it. And in the amount of time that we scaled, I was not prepared or equipped for the size that my brand had grown to. I hadn't built the business acumen to mentally support what was happening. And so while I was successful outwardly and things were going in a direction that, to people optically, it was great. That was a time where everyone was like showing their numbers and like, oh, look what I did this month. And, and I had a very successful month where we did over $1 million in a month. And, I was excited about that. But I will tell you, I'll never forget, that was one of the most stressful months of my career. There's a lot of pressure that comes with running a business that grew to the magnitude of Jsculpt, and I just wasn't prepared for it.
And so that makes me want to shift to a while ago, a few months ago, maybe a month ago, it was this viral thing around B. Simone, right? And they were saying how like
my finances,
the money, but it was more so the friend, and her friend needed or didn't have a car, and she never told her friend and things like that. And I felt so bad because some people were like, oh, B. Simone was so wrong, and how could she not try to help her friend?
Sorry,
and
my jeans are so tight. Give me a second. Jesus Christ.
And so, but it made me think of, because I know you, and
I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, Jesus.
I'm
gonna take my shoes off too. Sorry.
She thinks.
My Lord,
it's already riding up, right? Woo! So it made me think of like what people don't see, those silent battles, So like, even though that was her friend did not tell her what was going on, because she knew her friend, who may be who may be outwardly successful, but might be battling some things on the inside. So my view was like, I didn't comment because my view was totally different.
Yeah.
And I was like, people were so mad, like, how could she da 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 da? And I'm just like, well, more money, more problems.
Yeah.
Or you like to maintain certain things.
Sure.
So what was your take from that?
I had a very what they say, what they call it these days, it's like a unpopular opinion or something like that. To your point, it's one thing to, there's the money that you make, and then there's the money that it takes to run a business. And sometimes, your expenses can outweigh, what you're bringing in, and you'll find yourself, at a net negative. And then also, there's an element that I don't think people considered with B. Simone. I mean, I don't know her situation. I'm really kind of inserting my own life experience, but there does come a balance where, how do you decide how much to give? How do you decide when there's a cutoff point? So I know a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to running a business, and so I wasn't so, I didn't look at her and say like, oh, she's a terrible friend. I didn't know, what their circumstances were, but just from a business side of things, what you see is rarely what is actually taking place. Going back to the $1 million month that we had, by the time the year was over, we were in the negative. we were in the red because of all of the expenses that it took to run the business. Advertisement had exploded at that point. They had phased out like the iOS ability to track customers, and so it was harder to track customers, and so that made us have to pay more for ads. And then at this point, social media influencers are asking for more money, and things of this sort. And what it takes to run a company, the staff, agencies, all of these things. It takes a lot to run a business, and at times you may find yourself at a net negative. But on the outside, it looks like things is good, but maybe not so much.
So you said that was one of the worst months, like when you had the millions, right?
Yeah.
And so with that, you were very transparent and open with your mental health journey. And I will see you go live with your therapist and things like that. What made you start to to be so transparent with your mental health?
I just for me, I always try to lead with transparency, because something, I was much better with that than I am now. I'm trying to get back to a point where I'm more open about some of my struggles. But again, when you become I became like a thing, like not a not a person. It was like, because of how the business grew, people start to no longer view you as human, and they kind of view you as robotic, or just like, I don't want to say celebrity, but it's like there's that third wall that takes place when you start to grow, and then there's a perception about you.
Yeah.
And I struggle with becoming like the topic of conversations and judgment, about, how my business was ran, or some of the pitfalls that we were experiencing. And that really made me shrink myself. I just wanted to get very quiet. And I did that. But on the flip side of it, I lost what made me unique to my audience, which was being transparent about things that were taking place in my life. So to answer your question, the purpose of it was just to show that, real life is still happening, even when there are good things happening. There's still struggles. Even though we were wildly successful, my God, I rarely slept during that time. I was extremely stressed, and I was also going through a life shift. I was in my mid-30s at this point. And I also think there's so many little caveats to this, but it's like, my life was shifting. Like, the things around me, I'd purchased a home, and I had more excess of things, and I had to learn how to become that person without guilt, and a lot of people don't really talk about that when you're the family member that made it out. And so I was going through that as well, and unpacking, some of the issues that I had with my mother and my childhood. It was just a lot going on during that time. And so it was like, it was stressful in that sense. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but two things can be right at once. You can be, living a great high on one end, and also be experiencing a low. And that was my experience at that time.
So you said that you were dealing with a lot at that time, especially like family. How do you feel like the success that you gained, do you feel like you may have lost friends or family with the success, or do you think that some things were also repaired?
That's a good question. I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And yeah, some friendships ended, some relationships shifted. It's just the nature of an acceleration like that. Um, I dealt with it was a lot. That time was crazy. But it was just like, even with like people treated me differently. Like, it was like, you know, you have a lot of friends when you're high. You have a lot of people, that want to hang out, and they want to know about you, and all the things. And so I was just going through a perception shift that I had never experienced before, because, like, as you said, you were talking about when we first started this interview that I was always an it girl, and I'm like, girl, I cried in the bathroom in high school. What are you talking about? Like, no, I was not. And so it was a shift that I just wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I was able to uncover some things that I had been dealing with in my internal, like addressing my mother wound, and addressing some things that took place in my childhood. And so thank God, my career was able to allow me to pay for therapy, and I was able to go to therapy and really undo that, which helped me become a better mother, which in turn helped me become a better friend, a better partner. So, like I said, there's ebbs and flows to it.
So I do want to take a pause, and I want to dig a little bit into grief, right? Now, you lost your brother and your grandmother all in a few weeks. So I know that was a really, really tough time for you. How do you feel like that kind of may have either changed you or given you some kind of drive? Like, what do you feel like experiencing that back to back did for you?
Um,
I love you.
I love you too. I hate you.
I love you.
Um, Jesus. When you lose somebody that you love, it changed me. Um, when you asked me earlier, describe myself, I think that that's why it's been difficult to do that, because um, I'm learning a new version of who I am. Grief is such a unearthing thing. It was a very, thank you. It was a very sudden, the loss of my brother. And he was very special to me. Very special to me. And forgive me, audience, it's still very raw. My brother died in February of this year. And so it's crazy because the 27th of July was 5 months of his death, but it was also the 8th year of my anniversary. So that was really strange to, well, one, I didn't celebrate, Grief changes you, losing a sibling, you know, you lost your son. I know that you know, so I've expressed to you that I hate that we have this commonality with each other. It's something that I would never wish on anyone. But it has grounded me in ways that I've never experienced before. You know, there's just a lot of minutia that I used to care about that I don't care about anymore. I I care more about my family. Prior to my brother's death, you know, I'm very much so a workaholic. If you talk to anybody, they tell you that, you know, that's one thing they'll say, oh, she's probably working. You know, they say that about me a lot. And I never had time. I never had time prior to his death. You know, he would call and we would make all these plans, and I would say like, yeah, you know, I'm a everything surrounding life for me up until my brother's death was like, I'll do it tomorrow. And I remember the day before he passed, we talked and we FaceTimed, and we actually FaceTimed a couple of times that day. And I remember talking to him and telling him, because we have an older brother. My older brother is 15 years older than him, and I'm 10 years older than him. So my brother and I were more like his parents. You know, he was like our baby brother, you know. And I was moving out of my warehouse and moving into a new warehouse. My brother and his wife was there helping. And my brother was just calling, you know, he was calling a lot that day. And I remember saying to him, I was like, you know, I'm going to call you when I get out of here, because we hadn't spoken in some time. I was like, but I just got to finish up, you know, I'm going to call you. Well, we finished late. And I was like, I'm going to call him tomorrow. And I went to bed. No, that night I got home late, and we had kind of like a little spat. You know, it was nothing, right? It was nothing, but I didn't like how I spoke to him. And I texted him, and I was like, Kiefer, you know, I love you. I'll never speak to you like that again. I was like, I'm gonna call you in the morning. But I didn't send it. I said, no, you know what? He deserves. Oh, man.
Take your time.
Girl.
I love you.
Jesus. He deserves a phone call. I'm going to try to rush through this, okay? He deserves a phone call. And I woke up the next morning out of my sleep thinking about him. Like, I woke up thrusted out of my sleep, and I was like, Kiefer. And maybe like 20 minutes later, our older brother called and said he was gone. Wow. And try to turn out of that. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm glad you got that out.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like people don't know the whole story, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can remember the moment when Caleb passed and some things that I just remember that happened. And so as you talk about it, it's like, dang, like I did that. Like I remember having certain dreams about, like I had a dream that raccoons had attacked Caleb the night before. Yeah. And I was trying to fight off the raccoons. So it's certain things that you remember during that moment. And so I didn't mean to make you cry. but
Well, I mean,
those,
it's literally impossible to talk about him without
to
crying at this
talk about
point.
anything. That was
Yeah.
like I told
Yeah.
you years and years ago. Like that was your son.
Yeah,
Like Kiefer was your baby. He was always with
Mhm.
you. He was literally the baby boy.
He was we, affectionately called him my firstborn, and that, Zay was my secondborn, he was more than my baby brother. He was like a son to me, and it was very hard.
So how is communication, friendships, relationships, how is that for you now?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You know, going back to what's important to me, there's just so much that doesn't matter to me anymore. My priority is, my relationships and my family, my friends, and really nurturing the time that I spend with you all, because nothing reaffirms how quickly things change than death. And I hate that my lesson in prioritizing my family and friends was the death of my brother, but here we are.
Yeah.
And so, navigating that of just being like, I try to make time for my family and for my friends.
So I know one thing that grief did for me, right, was like, I was like, I need some kind of comfort. Like, I don't understand, like,
Yeah.
what I need comfort. I have family, I have friends, but I'm like, I miss love and affection. So how was relationships for you after that, like, with a male counterpart? Like, did you find it hard to date, easy? Were you in the process of dating and then you were just like, never mind? Or, like, how was relationships with a significant other for you at that point?
I don't see what you did in there. But I don't think that they had anything to do with one another.
Okay.
I think that at that time, or at this time in my life, because now we're in the present, I've done a lot of work, in terms of healing parts of me that was once very closed off to the idea of love, or just the idea of intimacy, not sexually, but like intimacy within friendships, intimacy with both platonic and romantic relationships, of just being vulnerable is what I'm saying with intimacy. Being open. You and I have had some very deep conversations that I think prior to the work that I've done, I'm not sure if I would have disclosed everything that I've said to you, just kind of like, keeping things to myself. But there's a lot of healing that takes place in vulnerability, but as it relates to love, I'm definitely in a much better place where I am open to all the possibilities that love could bring, that romantic love could bring. There was a time where I was just like, I'm gonna just do my auntie thing. My son is off to college at this point, and I'm gonna just do my thing.
Right. I'm outside.
I'm outside. I'm like, you almost 40, talking about you outside.
And we'll be.
We need to do something. Okay. It don't hit the same at 40.
Go back inside, auntie.
You gotta go back inside. Okay. So, I'm open to the idea. There was one thing I was very rigid on, like, marriage and having more children. I was like, no, I don't need marriage, and no, I'm not having any more kids. I'd been there, done that. But now, I know.
But now what?
I just figured this out in the car today. No. There's so much beauty in having siblings. And like my brother Rico and I, we are extremely close, The death of the death of our younger brother, made us even closer, but we were very close still, because we were 5 years apart. And so, kind of walking through life with him has been such a joy for me. And so I'm just like, I kind of want to replicate that. Okay. So I will say, if I end up pregnant, and I'm probably gonna have two. Yeah, because I want.
Yeah, I mean, you're young, so
Thank you.
you're the young auntie.
Yeah, husband first.
Okay.
Husband, then some children, maybe.
Okay, so we're gonna liven it up for a little. I want to do some like real rapid things real quick. So, do you prefer morning workouts or night workouts?
Morning workouts.
Okay, what song gets you started in the morning?
Ooh, that's hard because I actually like to listen to like slow music in the morning.
Okay,
but one of my favorite songs to play in the gym is Migos and NBA YoungBoy Need It.
She's a thug. NBA who?
You know who that is, right? Okay, NBA YoungBoy and the Migos Need It. That's one of my favorite songs.
Okay, what's one thing people get wrong about Jaz Jackson? And she's not Nicki Minaj.
A lot. I guess the one thing that kind of pops into my head is that people think that I've gotten so much cosmetic surgery done that is insane. Having to fight off people accusing me of like, getting cosmetic surgery in every place possible has been a challenge.
Y'all, I've known her for a really long time. She have not.
Well,
but her butt is real.
But the thing is like, I'm always
it runs in the family.
It runs in the family. But I'm just like, the one thing that they never mention is the one thing that it is. And so I'm always like, it's two of them. Like, you have two to choose from, and you say nothing about them. Whatever.
But that's on them, not me. Anyway, okay, so we are getting ready to wrap up, right? So first I want to say, I first want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Not only for just, we've been rocking and rolling since high school, and you've been on this journey with me from all the different events that we've done, and all the way to losing my son. And I just want to say thank you for just being there, being a friend that I can call on, and then also trusting me with just so many things, like, I just thank you for being there. When I tell you I love my family over there, like, we got Mama, we got Rico.
Listen,
like, I love them with
and
my
the thing
whole heart.
is like, we're so enmeshed. Our families are so enmeshed. Like, sometimes I'm like, how did we get this deep in? It's just like, she talks to, like, they have their own conversations. I talk to TT Pam, like, on, like, whenever, Mom, whenever, Cece just turned 30, crazy. And don't ever think you're not grown. Cece, you're not grown.
So what's one thing you want to leave to the viewers? If you can give them one message, especially women with healing, who's maybe building a brand or anything that you want to leave, a little tidbit.
I would say to remain curious. Rather than focusing so much on one thing, don't over-index in one particular place of your life. Make sure that you save some of you for all the other areas of your life. And just always remain curious. I tell people to just always be a student of life. Never get too rigid in thinking that you know everything, because it's funny, people always say like, oh, well, by this age you should know this, and by that age you should know that. But that's not exactly true. In the path of life, we're forever learning. And I remember, like, before my grandmother passed, there were still things that I was teaching her and she was teaching me, and my grandmother was 80 plus years old, so
Mama Jessie was everything.
I miss my girl.
Baby,
I miss my baby.
She was a feisty little thing.
I miss my girl. That's been difficult, because she was my best friend. Yeah. And so, like, the muscle of just picking up the phone and calling her to God, because we were gossip queens. We gossiped about everybody. That was my gossip bae. And so I can't pick up the phone and be like, girl, I got to tell you this, say that. But, I'm sure she's watching me. So
She definitely is watching you. I just want to sit here and say thank you once again
you, Shiny.
for blessing my couch, my love bug. Like, it's J Red and Coffee Brown.
Was I ugly
all over
crying?
again.
Can y'all edit that
No,
out?
you cute crier. No, ain't no
Excuse
editing.
me,
This is live.
fellas in the back.
This is all
Nah.
live. This is all live.
Uh-oh.
Baby. So you but you a cute crier.
It's not a 5 second. It's like a 5 second
No,
delay.
ain't no delays. This is all live. Anyway,
get me outta
y'all,
here.
Once again, if you are looking to be a guest here on the Culture Corner, check in with me, DM me, email me, just reach out. I would love to see who you are, what you do, and get you here on this couch. Once again, I want to thank Jaz Jackson, owner of the Jsculpt Fitness brand, baby. I can't wait to hear. I wanted to dive into what's next, baby. We had so much good talk.
Baby,
Sleep is next. Sleep is next for her. So, y'all always know what I say when closing out. Once again, thank you. For my viewers, keep showing up, keep speaking up, keep shining. The culture needs you. From my mic to your heart, this is Coffee B signing off with love.